material, or I think you can install it, like if you go install themes, material, why is it loading packages? That's weird. Themes. Yeah, so there's a UI theme, which is all this coolness and then the syntax highlighting. I've got the same thing running in iTerm, though the colors for some reason are slightly different. Like if I go to Profiles Colors, I've loaded in a preset of Material Design colors, but you can search for this. This is iTerm 2. I've also got a material theme for Alfred, so I can, like I'm super obsessed with this stuff now, just material everywhere. Okay, look, who wants to see a JavaScript game? Because this React stuff is totally not happening, and I'm getting super frustrated. I've been working on a JavaScript game as well, and it is super fun. A 2D platform game in an yeah, it's not, I don't know if it's material search. This thing over here. Is this what you're talking about? Okay, I'll show the game now. This thing over here is called Alfred. It's like a not that, preferences. It's like a kind of like a Spotlight thing. It's similar to Spotlight. I've even aliased it to the same key, but what it is like it's difficult to explain. It's a helpful thing. Yes, I'll answer that now. Question about Atom. Alfred's like a helpful command utility thing. You can do a lot of stuff that's supported. A lot of stuff that's like native to the operating system. Like for instance, today I started using it for clipboard history. So I can select a couple things and I can copy them, and then I can see everything that I've put in the keyboard history, in the clipboard history, and I can paste that stuff back in. So if I hit enter there, it'll paste it back in there. That's pretty awesome. Like I used that today. It's pretty useful. That's the one thing. The other thing is like you can do system commands like force quit. That's cool. Or lock to lock your system. You can do things like run terminal commands. It's super interesting. I'll actually show you the preferences because that will remind me of these things. These are what it supports by default. So you can do like custom scripts or specify like what the prefix character is for it. Like clipboard history stuff with snippets, searching in your file system, searching in all of these web providers. It's flippin' awesome. It is super awesome. And then you can do other things like workflows, which is like more complex run-through things. This is great for automating stuff. So this is the only workflow I have, and it's not one that I wrote, but essentially it takes in some content like UTF write. Takes in that content, runs it through some Python scripts to get UTF characters, and then returns. See, it's updating as it like narrows down my search. Returns some data, and then when I hit enter, it'll like copy that stuff to the clipboard. It's super cool. Like in terms of automation, this is super cool. Yeah, it does cool things. I mean, like it's also got like calculator mode, so you can do that kind of stuff, or you can do more complex stuff by entering advanced calculator mode. It's awesome. Just try it. And you can do other things like have it remember the position you drag it to and theme it. That's great. Okay, question about Atom. Why chose Atom over Sublime? I used to only use text editors. I didn't use things like PHP Storm. And I tried a lot of text editors. I am not kidding. When I started programming, I started in Dreamweaver, which is hilarious. Then when I got tired of all of the automatic stuff that Dreamweaver would do, I went to TextMate, and I used TextMate for a couple of years. And since then, I've tried tons and tons and tons of apps. I've tried Espresso is one. Let me have a look. espresso text editor. This was an interesting one that I tried after TextMate. It's a very pretty interface, but it's just a text editor, right? I mean, whatever. Looks like this. Very reminiscent of Dreamweaver for some reason, like this UI stuff. I tried this. Anyway, I tried many ones, and I've got licenses for them all. And then I tried Sublime, and I used Sublime for 2 or 3 years, and it's pretty good. Pretty simple. I didn't use the automation stuff in it at all. I just used, like the most advanced thing I would do would be install a plugin to format code or something and change themes and stuff. And then Atom came out and I used it, and initially it was almost feature complete compared to Sublime. Feature complete. Where does that even come from? It was on par, feature-wise, almost, with Sublime. Like it couldn't do multiple cursors or something when I first tried it, but it was slow for some reason. And then I didn't use it for a while. Then I tried PHP Storm, which is a whole other beautiful discussion. And when I came back to doing a lot of JavaScript stuff, I just tried Atom again. And this time it was much faster, it had more features than I was used to from Sublime, and it's cool. Like, it's open source. Sublime doesn't feel open source anymore. Sublime feels a bit like abandonware at this point. I know it's not, and there's some work going on with it, and there's a beta for 3 and stuff, but progress is so slow with it. I feel about it like I felt about TextMate 2. And where is TextMate 2? I mean, maybe Sublime 3 will be released, but at the point that it is released, yeah. The preferences, it does, like having a built-in theme and package installer and not having to paste just like a 500 character terminal command to get a package manager, like having that built in is awesome. And like the automatic updating, yeah, look, there isn't actually any slide deck stuff that I know of that's based on React. So yeah, at the moment Google Slides is better than a thing that doesn't exist, absolutely. And I don't think that any code that I write would be particularly popular. I actually just want to have an excuse to build something in React. That's kind of where I went with that. And I had that slide deck stuff that I've presented off before, which has been, for me, has been better than using something like Google Slides or slides.com, or, there's like so many JavaScript libraries to do this thing already, and I thought, well, I'd done similar work before, so I would just use that. And actually it's worked out fine for me. It's worked out really well for me doing slides in my own JavaScript software. I don't think that I'll get the React thing far enough that it'll be useful, but whatever. Okay, were there any other questions? Or, yeah. That's true. If you collaborate with slides, I've never put together a slide deck with someone. There are many good reasons to use Google software, and collaboration is like right up there, being able to work on the same thing at the same time. But I don't have that need, and for me, styling sides in CSS is quicker than using a Google interface for it. That's like the main reason for me. Like, I can write slides very quickly, just in like 4 or 5 elements per slide, and have it run and be able to change it. Be able to change it like really quickly. Like, for instance, I was presenting a talk introducing people to PHP, and it was the first time I'd used the slide deck with my clicker, and the clicker wasn't working, so I could bring up a dev console and get the key codes for the clicker and program that right into the slide deck. and have it work, you know? Like, I don't have any huge aspirations to write slide software that gets used by people. It just works really well for me. No, I've never worked for Facebook, unfortunately, because they seem like a great crowd. I use PHP because I learned it quite a long time ago, and actually, as a language, it's not pretty or anything, but the community behind it's really good. That's really what keeps me going in it. Yeah. And there's interesting stuff happening. A lot's changed in it and improved in it recently. So, you know, I want to show some JavaScript game stuff if anyone's keen to see that stuff. Where was the stuff? AssertchrisS. What did I even call this? I don't remember. Ah, yes, CD making games. So, Python's a cool language. Is that Python, but with, like, have you done any web dev linked to Python? Like, have you used Django and set up a web application, or is it just mainly for like at a system level scripting? Oh, sweet. So, do you have some passable knowledge of JavaScript? Like, can you do any of it? Do you feel comfortable doing any of it? Because JavaScript's a great language to learn. Like, even if you don't want to use frameworks like React or Angular or Ember or whatever, JavaScript's a great language to learn, just for the sake of having... Yeah. That's an interesting discussion, hey? Angular is a separate discussion. We'll talk about that another time. But statically typed languages for big applications make a lot of sense, hey? Like, when your code base gets 50k lines big, it starts to become really obvious that static analysis is a great help. Yeah. PHP didn't start as a programming language. It started as a template engine for... I mean, Rasmus was doing it because he didn't feel like writing HTML in C, so he made PHP to just make that easier. It didn't start as a programming language. It's become that. It's become that because it was so easy to get into, and for a couple reasons, because it was very permissive of bad code and worked really well with Apache. It's basically those two. Like an open source web server for cheap hosting and code that you could just copy and paste, and it is okay with some errors. I mean, that was golden for adoption. That's why Perl through CGI didn't take off as much. Like, it was around the same time and was arguably a better language at that time. It just never took off. PHP was really well integrated with Apache. Rasmus tells the story at like every conference. Yeah, JS is a good language to learn. I don't know that PHP is the best language to learn if you really do Python. Like, you're gonna really miss how clean Python code looks compared to PHP code unless you are really obsessed about a coding style guide. But the community is really great. Like, there are so many resources to use to learn, and the range of frameworks available like totally outshine Python. Python's got like a couple of really popular frameworks for doing web stuff. PHP just, I mean, there were more frameworks than time. Yeah, totally. You can scale PHP well, and PHP 7, which is in RC4, I think at the moment, has optional static typing. So you can